Hello everyone. Today we'll be understanding about the paired meridian channels, their functions, characteristics, and their roles in different diseases. So before we begin, let's just recollect the different channels we have. As we have already discussed, we have 12 paired channels which start with lung, large intestine, stomach, spleen, heart, small intestine, urinary bladder, kidney, pericardium, Sangio or triple energizer, gallbladder, and liver. Out of these 12 channels, we have 6 in the arm and 6 in the leg. And out of the 6 arm channels, we have 3 yin and 3 yang. And out of the 6 leg channels, we have 3 yin and 3 yang. So, the 3 yin channels of the arm are lung, heart, pericardium. The yang channels of the heart of the arm are large intestine, small intestine, Sangio or triple energizer. Now moving on to the leg, the 3 yin channels of the leg are stomach, urinary bladder, gallbladder. And the 3 yang channels of the leg are spleen, kidney, and liver. So, what are paired in the 12 channels? As we can see, the first 2 are paired. Lung and large intestine is one pair. So, the meridian points start from the heart to the tips of your fingers in the arm in the lung meridian, where the large intestine meridian starts. So the meridian points start from the tips of your fingers in your arm and moves to your head. And from there, the stomach meridian starts, which goes to your leg and your ankle, where they meet the spleen meridian and reach the meridian points start at the ankle or your toes and flow to your heart. This is how a cycle is formed. It's the same with every 4 meridians. So, what are the paired meridians? So, the lung and the large intestine form the first pair, the stomach and the spleen, the next pair, heart and small intestine, third pair, urinary bladder and kidney, pericardium and Sangio, and finally gallbladder and liver. So let's understand each channel. Now every pair is considered to each element that is naturally available on earth. You can relate it with the Pancha Mahabhutas the same way we have elements in traditional Chinese medicine too. So to begin with, if you can see, the lung meridian is starting from your chest, closer to your chest, and travels down anterior side to the fingertip of your thumb. We have 11 lung meridian points. So both lung and large intestine comes under the element metal. The direction is west. They relate to the season, autumn or dry climatic conditions. And they relate to the color white, emotion melancholy, which is you're sad for unknown reasons, and the flavor pungent, unpleasant odors, crying sound, and both lung and large intestine open to nose and anus respectively. Now, what do they govern? They govern the skin. They rule how does the skin work and how can you understand your health of the lung and large intestine? By understanding your nose. So your nose speaks about your lung. Now, in general, the in channels are more elaborately studied and discovered compared to the yang channels. So, lung is an in channel, as we already said, and large intestine comes under the yang channel. And as we can see, the large intestine starts at the fingertips and travels posteriorly towards the head and ends near the nose. So, lung generally absorbs energy, which is key. It absorbs energy. That is, if you want me to tell in a Western style, we breathe in air which regulates our circulation, fluids, oxygenated, deoxygenated blood. So, in the Chinese terms, we let's understand it as lungs absorb qi and it regulates fluids. So let's break it down again. It regulates the amount of oxygenated blood that to be sent to the tissues and deoxygenated blood collected from the tissues. It is very vulnerable to pathogens as we can inhale. And what happens if we have deficient lung qi? That is lower or less energy. We can sense the symptoms like cough, fatigue, unknown weakness, weak voice, and deficient lung in. If your lung in is low, you feel dry cough, night sweats. Now, coming to the large intestine. Large intestine generally helps in water metabolism and stool formation. Now, let's understand this more. When you eat food, it goes into the stomach, then slowly transports to the small intestine, and from the small intestine to the large intestine. Now, in the small intestine, it absorbs water, and nutrients from the food and separates nutrients and waste differently and sends the waste to the large intestine. And now this large intestine excretes solid waste as stool. And moving again, let's go back to the lung meridian. As we mentioned, the cough is referred to as the rebellious key because lung key is normally called the rebellious key. When coughing occurs along with tiredness, shortness of breath, lightly frothy phlegm, and a weak voice, it is considered deficient lung key. If the cough is dry with little phlegm, parched throat, and red cheeks, this indicates deficient lung in. It is often accompanied with night sweats or low grade fever. Now, many disorders affecting this organ are associated with spleen and stomach syndromes. Why? Because the first four, as I said, they form a cycle. So, disorders affecting spleen and stomach are also associated with lung and large intestine. And in certain varieties of abdominal pain are regarded as manifestations of a blockage of qi or blood in the large intestine. Now let's go to the second set, which is spleen and stomach. Now the spleen here is considered as spleen plus pancreas together, and the element they relate to is earth. The direction is center. They relate to late summers or dampness. Yellow color, the emotion related is contemplation. Sweetness, fragrant odor, singing sound, and they open into your mouth. You can understand your stomach and your spleen by reading your mouth, and they govern the flesh and the limbs. Now, here again, we can see spleen starts from the toe, bigger toe, and travels back up to your chest. And then stomach, as you can see, starts here in the head and travels down to your legs. Now, as we already said, they govern digestion because it includes stomach, and they also govern flesh and the limbs. Now, spleen is also considered the main organ of digestion. Why? Because it transports nutrients upwards. That is, nutrition is absorbed into the body and produces and regulates blood. It is responsible for transforming food, that is, what we eat from a plate, is converted to nutrients that are required by the body. So, spleen plays a major role in transforming food into nourishment. The stomach receives food and sends it downwards. As I again said, the spleen transports nutrients upwards, stomach sends food downward. That means the nutrients are again separated in the small with their the food is moved to the small intestine where they are separated. So the stomach is associated with dampness while the spleen is associated with dryness. When the spleen is weak, the body cannot properly extract nourishment from the food. So the symptoms include fatigue, pale face, diarrhea, and the upper abdomen is the region linked to the spleen. The spleen deficiency often presents as discomfort or a feeling of fullness in that area. Because it transports nutrients or qi upwards, weakness in the spleen qi leads to diarrhea. Now, spleen qi is also known as the middle key because it helps hold all the internal organs in one place. Weak middle key can lead to the prolapse of organs as such, like the stomach or kidneys. In more severe condition, spleen yang deficiency presents as again diarrhea, cold limbs, and abdominal pain, which can be relieved by warmth, hot drinks, frictional massage, or moxibustion. When these symptoms described include bleeding, especially from the digestive tract or the uterus, the condition is known as spleen not controlling the blood. Now, cold and dampness. The spleen is a common syndrome. Like we said, the spleen is represents dryness and the stomach represents dampness. Any deficiency leads to bloating, poor appetite, and edema. Stomach fire refers to a burning pain in the stomach, intense hunger, bleeding gums, constipation, and also a bad breath. Rebellious stomach leads to diseases like acute gastrointestinal diseases. And next comes the heart and the small intestine. As we can see again, the heart starts from closer to the chest area and moves down to your fingernails, your fingers in your arm. And both heart and small intestine represent the element fire, the direction south, and they represent the season of heat, which is summer. Some are red, they are joyful, they taste bitter, they have burning odors, singing sound, and they open to your tongue. So you can read your heart and small intestine meridian issues while you can see the tongue. And these govern, as the name suggests, the blood vessels and overall circulation. The small intestine starts from your fingertips and travels to your head and ends near your ear. Now, the heart is responsible for moving blood through the vessels. It also houses the spirit, making it organ most closely connected to mental and emotional activities. So, any depression, anxiety, these are also generally related to the heart meridian, because as we all believe, our emotions are hugely driven by our heart. So it also governs circulation and also the blood vessels and also the spirit. The small intestine, as we discussed earlier, separates nutrients and waste from the food that is received from the stomach. And the nutrients that are received are sent into the bloodstream for our energy, and the waste is sent downward into large intestine where it is converted as waste or stool. Now the deficient heart, qi, yang or yin, results in palpitations, dizziness, cold limbs or flushed heat signs. Your hands, your feet and your hands become cold very easily, very often. You feel dizzy for no reason. You have flushed heat signs, sudden heats for no reasons. These are all because of deficient heart meridian. The principal functions of the heart are associated with mental activity and circulation. So, deficient qi results in general lassitude, panting, shallow breath, excessive sweating. Deficient heart yang results in swollen face, ashen gray or bluish green face, or cold limbs. And deficient heart in results in flushed appearances on palms and face, low grade fever, sweating. Excess fire of the heart is associated with fever, sometimes accompanied by delirium, a racking pulse, and intense restlessness, insomnia, or frequent nightmares, a bright red face, a red or blistered and painful tongue, burning sensation during urination. These are all because of excess heart fire. Now, the burning sensation during urination is result of both heat being transferred from the heart to the small intestine, interfering the small intestine's functions of metabolism and of water balance. And then comes kidneys and urinary bladder. Again, the kidney starts near your feet and then travels upward towards your head. And kidneys and urinary bladder belong to the element water. Their southerly direction, winter season, they relate with the color black. Emotion is fear. They have a salty taste, rotten odor, groaning sound, and they open into urethra and vagina. These also relate to the reproductive organs in the human body, and their sensory organ is ear, and they govern bones, marrow, and cartilages. And again, the urinary bladder starts in your head and travels downward and ends in your feet. So they govern growth, reproduction, bone marrow, and also bones. And as the kidneys store the essence of life, that is why they are related with the reproductive functions. Their primary role is water metabolism and control of body fluids. The bladder transforms fluids into urine and excretes it from the body. The kidneys are the storehouses of congenital yin and yang. As I told, they represent the reproductive function, so they are the congenital yin and yang. Diseases of the kidney might lead to problems in other organs as well. So, strengthening the kidney is crucial to maintain vitality. Deficient kidney in results in weak and sore lower back, ringing in the ear, or hearing loss. Ringing in the ear is also known as tinnitus. Ashen or dark face, especially under the eyes, dizziness, thirst, night sweats, and low grade fevers are common. In men, if they have deficient kidney yin, they have less semen and tend towards premature ejaculation, while in women, they have scanty menstruation or may be frigid. Now, what happens if there is deficient kidney yang? They are associated with loss of energy or warmth. There is significant weakness in the legs, clear and voluminous urine, or incontinence. What does incontinence mean? They cannot control or hold their urine. May be present in men. There may be a tendency towards impotency. Frequently, deficient kidney in produces similar disorders in heart and liver, like you can see low grade fever, night sweats, and as so on. While deficient kidney yang disturbs the function of spleen and lungs. The kidneys play a crucial role in water metabolism. When these functions are disrupted, the condition of deficient kidneys might also lead to edema, that is, water accumulation or ascites. Then comes pericardium or Sangio or triple energizer. They don't have their own physiological functions because pericardium is like a protective layer for the heart, and Sangio is considered like three different cavities in the body, like upper, middle, and lower cavities. So they belong to the element fire. As I said, the Sangio was described as having a name but no form. In few traditions, it is believed that it is three cavities that are used to group organs, like the upper cavity, which consists of chest, neck, head, and functions of heart and lungs. The middle cavity consists of region between chest and umbilicus, so it includes functions of stomach and spleen, and lower cavity consists of lower abdomen and the functions of kidney and urinary bladder. Now, the upper cavity compared to mist, which spreads blood and ki. The middle cavity, because it has lung. The middle cavity is like a foam that churns the food in digestion process because it includes stomach, and the lower cavity is like a swamp where all impurities are excreted from because it includes kidneys, large intestine, urinary bladder. So they don't have function of their own, but they play a crucial role in supporting the other meridians. And finally, as we again can see, the pericardium starts from areas closer to your chest and runs downward to your fingertips, and the triple energizer starts from your fingertips, travels upward, and ends in your head. And the last set is the liver and the gallbladder. Again, the liver meridian starts at your toes, runs to your chest. So, both liver and gallbladder belong to the element wood. The direction is east. They represent the spring season, that is, the season of wind. Green color, they have an emotion of anger, so shouting sound, and they open into your eyes. That is why jaundice is generally seen with the yellowishness in your eyes. They govern muscle tendons, joints, and nails. The gallbladder meridian, again, as you can see, starts in your head and travels back downward and ends in your feet. Liver is responsible for circulation and regulating ki throughout the body. So depression or frustration can disturb its flow. It plays a crucial role in women's menstrual cycle and sexuality as it responsible for storing blood when in rest and has control over lower abdomen. Depression of the liver key is often the main cause of gynecological disorders like menstrual irregularities, painful and swollen breasts. The gallbladder stores and excretes bile that is produced by the liver. So while the liver produces bile, it has to be stored at some point. So the gallbladder offers its ground to store bile and excrete. So, gallbladder, together with the heart, is responsible for decision making. As we have already discussed, heart plays a crucial role in neurological functions of brain, depression, functions. Gallbladder, together with the heart, is also responsible for decision making. And the most important function of liver is storage of blood. While the lung circulates or heart circulates, liver storage stores the blood with the attendant emphasis upon nourishing and energizing. When the liver blood is deficient, the liver is incapable of storage, which is manifested as dry, painful eyes with weak vision, pain, or moving the joints, dry skin, dizziness, infrequent or scanty menstruation, movement of the interior wind is evidenced by sudden onset of symptoms like dizziness on locomotion. That means you feel dizzy while you're walking. Spasms, you have aches, body aches, paralysis, that is in extreme conditions, difficulty in movement, or severe vertigo. Now, these symptoms represent the transitory, disorienting, and ultimately disassociative functions of wind. Now, the gallbladder, the principal disease associated is a disorder affecting the flow of bile caused by dampness and heat. This is manifested by pain in the region of liver, an oppressive sensation of fullness in the abdomen, yellowish eyes, skin, urine, and tongue. So that is how you know there is a problem with your gallbladder energy. So understanding these meridians lay a crucial point for you to understand meridians much better. To end with, let's discuss the elements and the seasons related with different sets of meridians. As we can see, we have the five elements. The lung and large intestine as metal, spleen and stomach has earth, heart and small intestine, and also pericardium and sangio shares fire, kidney and urinary bladder water, liver and gallbladder wood. Moving on to the direction, so from the west, center, south, southerly and east. And the seasons, this it begins with autumn, late summer, winter and spring. The large intestine represents color white, spleen and stomach represents yellow, heart and small intestine represents red, kidneys and urinary bladder represent black, liver and gallbladder represent green. And the emotions related are melancholy, contemplation, joy, fear, anger. The flavors related to lung and large intestine are pungent, to spleen and stomach sweetness, heart and small intestine bitterness, kidneys and urinary bladder salty. The odors related unpleasant, fragrant, burning, and rotten. And the sound related to lung and large intestine is crying. Then spleen and stomach represent singing, heart and small intestine singing, kidney and urinary bladder groaning, liver and gallbladder shouting. Spleen and stomach represents contemplation. They open into nose and anus, mouth, tongue, urethra and vagina, and liver and gallbladder opens into your eyes. The lung and large intestine governs the skin. Spleen and stomach governs flesh and limbs. Blood vessels and circulation are governed by heart and small intestine. Kidneys and urinary bladder governs bones, marrow and cartilage. Liver and gallbladder governs tendons, joints and nails. That's it for today. Thank you.